The first nightmare does not feel unusual. It feels like every other night. Dark, vivid, intense. But when morning comes, the fear does not fade. It remains not in your mind. But in reality, the broken door you saw in your dream is now splintered. The shadow you ran from is no longer imaginary. And the danger you woke up to escape never ended. Now, imagine a world where dreams do not stay in the mind, where imagination leaks into existence. But only the nightmares cross the boundary. Only the fear becomes real. Only the terror manifests. At first, scientists would struggle to explain the phenomenon. Dreams are neurological events. They're generated by brain activity during REM sleep. They are not physical, not material, not capable of altering the external world. Yet in this altered reality, something fundamental has changed. The brain is no longer just a generator of images. It becomes an unintended creator of outcomes. The moment a person enters deep sleep, neural activity intensifies. The amygdala, the region associated with fear, becomes highly active. Nightmares, already more emotionally intense than normal dreams, produce stronger neural signals. In this scenario, those signals somehow translate into physical manifestations, not controlled, not predictable, and most dangerously, not intentional. Minutes after the first global night cycle, chaos begins silently. A child dreams of monsters. Scratches appear on bedroom walls. An adult dreams of falling. Structural tremors ripple through their surroundings. Someone dreams of being chased. Footsteps echo in empty corridors. At first, governments dismiss the incidents as coincidence. Isolated anomalies, psychological hysteria, but the pattern becomes undeniable. Every manifestation is linked to a nightmare. Never a peaceful dream, never a pleasant fantasy. Only fear, only dread, only subconscious terror. Hours later, emergency response systems begin tracking sleep-related incidents. Hospitals report a surge in unexplained physical disturbances occurring during REM cycles. Surveillance data reveals a chilling synchronization. Manifestations peak precisely when large populations are asleep. Civilization begins to understand the scale of the threat. Humanity sleeps every night, which means the nightmare cycle never truly stops. Days pass, sleep becomes dangerous. Not because of rest deprivation, but because unconscious fear now has consequences. Psychologists warn that suppressing fear may intensify nightmares. Intensified nightmares may produce stronger manifestations. A feedback loop begins forming. Fear of nightmares causes anxiety. Anxiety increases nightmare frequency. Nightmares increase real-world manifestations. Manifestations increase global fear. The cycle feeds itself. Weeks later, the global domino effect expands. Governments implement controlled sleep schedules. Sleep monitoring technology becomes mandatory in major cities. Neuroscientists attempt to map nightmare intensity using brainwave analysis. Military agencies study the phenomenon cautiously. Because if nightmares can manifest physically, they could theoretically become unpredictable threat events. Environmental consequences begin emerging. Localized structural damage appears in residential areas. Unexplained temperature drops are recorded during high-intensity nightmare episodes. Urban infrastructure starts adapting to nighttime anomaly patterns. Technology evolves rapidly. Dream suppression devices are developed. Sedatives are reformulated to reduce REM intensity. AI-assisted sleep tracking systems monitor brain activity in real time. Yet none of these solutions eliminate the core problem, because nightmares are not external threats, they are internal. They originate from memory, trauma, stress, imagination, and the subconscious mind. Months into this reality, society undergoes a psychological transformation. People begin fearing sleep itself. Insomnia rates skyrocket. Night shifts become the dominant global work structure. Entire cities remain active at night to minimize simultaneous sleep cycles. But sleep deprivation introduces another danger. Severe exhaustion increases hallucinations. And hallucinations blur the boundary between waking fear and dreaming fear. Scientific comparisons reveal a disturbing insight. Nightmares are evolutionarily designed as threat simulations. The brain uses them to rehearse danger scenarios for survival. But if those simulations become real, the survival mechanism becomes a threat generator. Years later, the long-term consequences become more complex. Children raised in this world are trained in emotional regulation from an early age. Meditation becomes a core educational subject. Trauma therapy becomes as essential as basic health care, because emotional stability directly reduces nightmare intensity. Civilization begins prioritizing mental health not as a social issue, but as a survival necessity. However, a darker realization slowly emerges. Not all nightmares are random. Many are rooted in suppressed fears, unresolved trauma, deep psychological conflict. This means the most emotionally burdened individuals unintentionally produce the most dangerous manifestations. Society faces an ethical dilemma. Should high-risk dreamers be monitored more closely or protected more compassionately? Decades pass. Technological solutions advance further. Neural dampening implants are introduced to regulate REM activity. Dream stabilization therapy becomes widespread, yet the phenomenon never fully disappears. Because fear itself never disappears from humanity. War veterans dream of past battles. Survivors relive traumatic memories. Stressed populations experience collective anxiety. And every night, somewhere in the world, a nightmare becomes real. Unexpectedly, researchers discover a critical limitation. Nightmares do not manifest exactly as seen in dreams. They manifest symbolically, amplified, distorted, driven by emotional intensity rather than visual accuracy. A dream of being trapped may result in real environmental confinement anomalies. A dream of drowning may cause localized atmospheric pressure disturbances. This revelation changes scientific understanding completely. The manifestations are not literal dream copies. They are physical translations of fear itself. Centuries into this altered reality, humanity adapts culturally and psychologically. Storytelling evolves. Entertainment shifts away from horror content. Global media reduces exposure to fear-inducing imagery. Sleep rituals become sacred practices focused on emotional calm. Civilization becomes quieter at night, more introspective, more cautious. But the greatest philosophical shift remains unresolved. If nightmares alone become real, then the world is no longer shaped only by actions. It is shaped by subconscious fear. This creates a civilization where internal emotional states influence external reality. A world where the mind is no longer private, because its darkest creations leave physical consequences. In the end, humanity would not just fight external dangers. It would confront its own inner fears every single night. Not metaphorically, but physically, tangibly, inevitably. And as the final realization settles into collective awareness, one question becomes impossible to ignore. If your deepest fears could reshape reality while you sleep, how safe would the world truly be from the nightmares inside the human mind?